Now, Josy Paul is no stranger to Cannes Lion, having brought home the inaugural Glass Grand Prix in 2015. This year, he's also the jury president for the Sustainable Development Goals Lion. Thank you so much, Josy, for joining us.
Pleasure.
Now, I remember back in 2015, I think Chris Thomas had gone up on the Cannes Lion stage and collected that award for you for
Yes.
Touch the Pickle,
Yeah.
wearing your Josy Paul mask.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the most standout moments at Cannes for us. But I want to know from you, which was the most special moment at Cannes for you?
You know, for me, one of the big moments was in 2012 when I spoke on center stage. And I think it was Bill Clinton's going to speak after me.
Okay.
And I wasn't the only speaker. It was a panel discussion with the people at BBDO. And they had invited me to be part of the panel where we were going to talk about other people's work,
Okay.
not our work. And something really amazing happened. I got about 12 minutes to speak, but I presented, Agnello Dice and Paddy's work
Okay.
for I Am Mumbai, and I deconstructed it. I kind of broke it into different parts, frame by frame, sound by sound, and explained the context to the people sitting there
Okay.
as to why that film is relevant and what is the context of it. And I think the way perhaps that I presented it seemed to have really affected the people in the room,
Okay.
that after that particular presentation, for the next 3 days, I didn't have to pay for anything. Wherever I went, people would buy me food, drinks,
Wow.
saying, "We just love that. Thank you for telling us the story of Mumbai through the lens of that film." And went on, of course, to win a Golden Craft. And I think for me that was special because I had never done anything like that in my life. And more importantly, I had never received that kind of response. And I just felt that sometimes when you're a bridge for someone else's work, maybe interesting things happen.
So you managed to touch them in ways that you didn't imagine.
Yeah.
Now, Josy, you're also one of the most recognized Indian faces at Cannes Lion, and you've been at the festival year after year. Tell us what, according to you, has changed at Cannes Lion in the past maybe 10, 15 years?
Yeah, actually, when I first went, it was in 1996, and there would have been probably 4 or 5 categories, of which film was the most important, print was big, outdoor, radio, and that was good. It was fascinating because you also got a lot of time to go and watch every single film, because they had these, theaters where you could watch everything, including print, etc. But over time, I think what Cannes has done is really recognize the future. I think they are probably one of the most future-facing, creative festivals. Probably the most future-facing creative festivals, and they began to see where communication is going, and so they began to introduce all these new categories that represents the new world based on new media, based on new touch points, based on whatever is happening in society. And I think that for me is amazing and positive change, because it also taught me things that I must look at all these mediums as well.
Interesting. Now you are the jury president for Sustainable Development Goals, and very few Indian creative professionals have been jury chairs. I think Prasoon Pandey before this last year. But why is it that such rarity when it comes to Indian jury presidents, according to you?
I mean, it's a good start, right? I think there are 4 or 5 of us now, and I think it's the beginning of where India is going. India has been really shining over the last couple of decades, actually, but in the last decade we've done really well. And so it's just a matter of time that we see more people represent India at the president level. So I mean, it's a good thing, right? This really, looking back, I feel it's good progress.
And as jury president, what is it going to take to impress you in that particular category?
I think for me, it's not so much about me, to be honest. As the role of a president is really to listen to my jury and sense where the jury is going. Of course, I have a role to sort of direct things or sort of, have a point of view, but I'd rather listen to where the jury wants to go. But the most important thing is to know that you are a pilgrim, that you are there I don't go as a judge. I really go as a pilgrim. I go to worship the work. And I think I don't judge the work, I let the work judge me.
Okay.
What I mean by that is sometimes you go with your own perspectives and prejudice about what you think is great work. And suddenly there's a piece of work that comes sideways and blows your mind and changes you and makes you look at yourself and say, hey, I never looked at creative work this way. And that for me is more important because it's very rewarding. I do feel that it's not about the jury, it is about the work. And the work will decide, not the jury. But therefore, my role as a president is just to look at the larger picture, sense the mood of the jury, direct it in a way that is positive, and celebrate the work that deserves to be celebrated. You know? So I'm not going with anything preconceived. I don't want to have any control. Yeah, I just want to go there and feel how others feel in the jury and what the work does to me.
When it comes to sustainable development goal line, I think India has managed to win up a medal or two in the past couple
Quite a
of
few,
years. But do you think we are making enough of a dent in the category yet? I mean, are we capable of more? And is India really thinking of sustainability at this point?
I think that's a great question because I would like to think that the work for Whisper won a Grand Prix 3 years ago in that category. And there's been continuous work that Leo Burnett and some of the other teams have been doing. So I think India is really, the one country that can do great stuff in that area. And I'm looking forward to see what else is coming up this year. And it's early. This category is pretty new, right? I do sense that this year we're going to see some mind-blowing stuff. And that'll help. I'd like to believe that it is the most significant category at Cannes, because it's probably the most important category which will impact change in the world. And it has to be about impact as much as it's about idea, you know.
Right.
And so it's not about being clever, but about contributing something. And it has to be visible change. So therefore, I think it's a little more than just the idea. It's what it does to you as it affected communities, as it affected you at a personal level. So I think there's something very big in this category which I'm looking forward to.
And which has been your favorite win in this Sustainable Development Goal category? From the past many years, it could be international, Indian, anything that you like.
I think the work that was done last year for Renault was, I think, a significant one. It won the Grand Prix. And I think that is a good reference point for me.
And just one last question, Josy. Which was your first ever Cannes entry? I mean, it may or may not have won, you can tell us.
Yeah.
But we're very curious to know, because you've been going to Cannes since the 90s. Which was the first one you ever sent to Cannes?
So there was a campaign we had done for SR, the guys who make ships and steel and stuff like that. So for SR, we had done a campaign which was a corporate campaign.
Okay.
And it had won a silver at one show. It was India's first one show award.
Okay.
Along with one of Piyush's work for the horse. And that was also his first one show award.
Okay.
And so I really felt that it's, might win something at Cannes. So we entered that, but it didn't win. Okay. But yeah, so that's the first piece and I was in an agency called David at that time. So that was my first one, but it was okay. We felt good that it won at one show.
Super. Thank you so much, Josy, and I hope you end up like you wanted, being be a student as much as a juror at this Cannes Lion.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.